Hi, and welcome to the channel. I'm going to start off by introducing myself and kind of explaining why I'm here speaking to you instead of doom scrolling memes like a normal person. My name is Jalan Fields, and over the years I've worn a lot of hats: musician, filmmaker, athlete, soldier, and now a husband and father. Some hats fit better than others, My Little Caesars era really wasn't my proudest moment, but hey, we're here. I have songs on all major platforms. I've made a couple private short films, and I've done some cool stuff that I think are cool. Maybe you might not be. Because I clearly don't know when to quit, I am here starting a YouTube channel, and years ago I had started one and it really didn't go anywhere because I was kind of all over the place. But why now? And I would say that's because the one thing holding me back from starting something like this or moving forward with my creativity was uncertainty itself. And so I thought I should just tackle uncertainty instead of running from it. So why not start there? And after high school, my life was chaotic, you could say. Think less of a 10-year plan and just completing random side quests without a map. I was getting skills and getting XP and this and that. But in the long run, now that I can look back at it, it has helped me with the main quest. And about 4 years ago, I made a decision I didn't really want to make, but I knew I had to, and I joined the military. And not because I dreamt about it, maybe when I was young, but I never really jumped about it in high school and stuff like that. But I mainly joined because it was the scariest path in front of me. And sometimes that's the best path to take, embracing that suffering and allowing it to teach you something versus having negative thought patterns on it. It's kind of a callback to the King Arthur story. And in this instance, Christ is my King Arthur. But King Arthur, calls all of his knights into the region, into his hall, you could say, his throne room, and he tells them, "I have a mission for you. A lot of people are dying, and it's all because of this part of the forest. And the thing is, though, I can't just have you guys go in there midday. I need you all to figure out where the scariest part of the forest, the most dangerous part of the forest is, and I need you to go during the witching hour. I need you to go during the darkest part of the night." And for me, that was the infantry. And I went in, I faced the chaos, which really I went inside, right? The dark part of the forest was within me, and I faced the chaos. I came out with discipline. I have brothers in arms now and a whole new perspective. Plus, I have a wife and kid on the way. So you could say that's the best loot drop that a man could ask for. I do know that the infantry and all that, it's not my sole purpose. Being a creative, writing, sharing stories through film, music, etc. That's my sole purpose, and just helping people in some way, shape, or form, helping people grow. And that's something I want to do with this channel, is not so much tell people what to do, but share the knowledge and wisdom that I've gained from books or just life experience to be able to see things differently and see things for how they truly are, using facts and things like that. When I was in that chaotic time, I was really getting into music and all of that, but I was falling into the instant gratification trap and getting discouraged if I had never had that overnight fame, or I wasn't getting the outcomes that I was expecting because I was keeping up with the Joneses with other creative people on social media. And I also spiritually was bouncing through worldviews as if you were binge watching multiple shows on Netflix. And yeah, I was just applying them to my life here, and like on and on and on and on, seeing what would work, but I would never stick with one because I was all over the place. And growing up, I was a Christian, and then I fell to atheism, and then I went to nihilism, and then I went to agnosticism, you name it. But then I came back and found a completely new, profound relationship with Christ. And it wasn't religion in the dogmatic sense. It was authentic, and it wasn't somebody telling me that, hey, this is where Christ is. He's not over here. It was more so me having a spirit of discernment to understand the truth, but also the truth about darkness, right? Not here's truth, stay away from darkness. But the thing is that being in the darkness allowed me to understand the light. And because I was in the light for so long, maybe some of you are there too. Having that shift though, that shift in perspective with Christ, it changed how I saw people, how I saw myself, and movies and stories, and how I listened to music, how I experienced sound itself. Suddenly I could see Christ's fingerprints everywhere I looked, everything I heard, in cultures and other religions, and so on and so forth. Why now? Why YouTube? Uncertainty is universal, and the assassination of Charlie Kirk shook me to my soul like it did billions of other people. And now, I didn't agree with him on everything, which nobody agrees with anybody 100% on anything. If they tell you that, then you should check them. But I respected his courage to speak and use his beliefs to sit down and have a conversation with someone in the open, disregarding how dangerous it was. Yes, he'd understand how dangerous it was, but he kept going because he was anointed. He was. And the core takeaway I got from him was speaking up when it risks being offensive, because risking being offensive to each other in a conversation allows us to learn from each other, especially when you don't interpret words you disagree with as hate, because we have to bounce ideas off each other, but we have to keep it cordial. It can kind of get passionate, but don't let it get heated, right? There's a difference between a passionate conversation and a heated conversation. And that's the stuff that moves societies forward versus moving society backwards due to violence. And I want to make a mental health note. If you witnessed his death uncensored, it's normal to feel traumatized. It's normal to not feel okay. It's normal to want to talk to someone about it. But there's that uncertainty, right? There's that uncertainty. Well, maybe this person doesn't want to talk about it. Maybe it's too hurtful, or maybe it's too harmful, or maybe it's going to make them uncomfortable. But that's the point. That is the point. It's normal to feel uncomfortable during that. But that's why you go into prayer and pray by yourself. Find close friends, find a church group, find whatever group you trust, and get with them and talk to them about it. Talk to them, talk to each other, ask them how it made them feel. Ask them where they think we should go, so on and so forth, because we should not, we have ignored darkness long enough, and look what happens. When you ignore darkness, when you ignore your shadow, when you ignore things that actually bother you, it festers and it turns into something else. And instead of being able to talk clearly to someone who clearly wants to talk to you because you disagree with them, when you ignore the darkness that has been building up your entire life, it leads to you, not you, the generalization. It leads to human beings hurting each other. That is the fundamentals of war. Making things chaotic, making people feel divided. For me, Charlie's example is a part of why I'm here. I don't want to replicate his voice, I want to add mine. My mission is to help people navigate through uncertainty, blending creativity, speaking with other people with composure, and practicing free speech with sovereignty. Because again, words are not violence. Disagreements don't equal hate. And if you think words are violence, you should go to a UFC gym and train and get that under control and evolve your mind into understanding true violence. Or you can, just join the infantry, but regardless, if you just need therapy, go to therapy. And if anybody's judging you, cool. Let them. Their opinion of you has nothing to do with your mental health. I want to shift the focus, make it a little lighter. It's not just about us right now. It's about the youth and the next generations. They're learning how to act. They're learning how to dream. They're learning how to speak by watching us, by looking at technology and looking at trends and thinking, oh, this person's famous. This person's doing this. This person is being seen, right? And my generation, older generations, it's up to us to let them know that they matter. It's up to us to let them know how to stand their ground and how to have self-respect and how to set boundaries. Because if they don't have any of that, something else will teach them, or someone else will. The point is, especially mothers and fathers, it's important that they know that they are seen. Because if they don't feel seen, they will look on this little black mirror device and think, oh, this person has hundreds of thousands of likes on this. I should do that so I can feel accepted, so I can feel seen. I'm going to do that, I'm going to do that, and I'm going to act this way, and I'm going to act that way because it gets attention. And deep down inside, I want attention. That's what the youth is going for. That is what's happening. That's what's happened with all of us. It doesn't matter the generation. It's happened over and over and over again. That's one of the main reasons I'm here, starting this YouTube channel. And one of my favorite Bible verses is John 14:12. And Jesus is saying, very truly I tell you, whoever believes in me will do the works that I have been doing, and then some. And then some. They will do even greater works than I, because I am going to the Father. If Yeshua, the Anointed One, is coming here telling us that we can do the things that he does and greater things, I don't think he's bluffing. I don't think he's saying, yeah, I walked on water. I'm saying this verse, but you're not going to be able to walk on water, my guy. No, he meant every word. And there's a lot of density, dense information, dense knowledge, dense wisdom. What I mean by dense, there's so much happening in this reality that we're in. And I'm not trying to go off on a tangent, but with what he's saying, there's so much behind it. But we have to teach through love. And I'm not saying just ignore the violence from a group of people. No. Keep it in check. Go read Ecclesiastes in the Old Testament. I know, I understand. But what I'm getting at is that if we fall into that trap of anger, wrath, and violence, then we lose I feel like we lose all the progress that we've made from where we're at. And it was pleasing to see that the people who came out for Charlie Kirk were singing and dancing, and the Polynesians and the New Zealanders doing haka and all of that. That was amazing. There wasn't burning of stores and whatnot, which is something to think about. And if Christ is saying this to the generation that was after him, to all of us, then we should be teaching the youth the same thing, whatever our gifts are, right? We need to model resilience, model humility, model courage, and if we don't, someone or something else will. And it might not be pretty. And that leads me into the next thing, which is technology, because it's evolving faster than we can make memes about. And what I'm getting at is, through a pop culture lens, technology is scary, right? We have Matrix, we have Terminator with Skynet, we have Avengers Age of Ultron, right? And the Matrix, the whole Matrix is because of technology. But if you look at the Matrix lore, it's our fault. It's our fault that technology took that turn. And Terminator with Skynet, it's our fault that Skynet chose to do that, because they thought that humans, they were just in a cycle of war and death and everything, and they're like, let's eradicate them. And then Avengers Age of Ultron. Ultron is alive for a day, and he gets all the information from the internet, and he's like, humanity needs to die. But there's a beautiful movie, I would say, that everybody should watch. It's called The Creator. It has, I think, John David Washington. Is that his name? It's Denzel Washington's son. And technology and AI are like, they become conscious, but they just want to live. And it's humans who deem them as enemies, but all they really want to do is live in peace, but humans are hunting them down. And that being said, we can use technology as a tool, or we can allow it to be whatever we perceive it to be, because that's all it will be. And that's reality. How you perceive reality is how you receive reality, right? If you perceive reality to be something that is doom, gloom, all it's ever going to be, we've lost the war, there's no point in trying, then that's exactly the reality you will receive. But if you put in the work, if you strap the ruck on your shoulders, if you put this world on your back, if you go on and hone your gifts like a samurai would hone his sword skills, your perception will change. And if you perceive technology to hurt and be something that's dark, then that's exactly what will happen. And I'm not talking about the conspiracy theories and all that. Trust me, I've went down the rabbit hole. I understand, but what did I just say? If I perceive reality to be humanity's end, then that's what it'll be. But I'll use it like a tool, like how Tony Stark and Jarvis worked together. Tony Stark was a genius, yes. He had a genius mind, but he had Jarvis help him to create the things he created. He had him look up the information, and then, being the genius he was, Tony Stark would apply the information he got from his AI, his chat GPT. Sure, you can do this with anything. Look it up, be specific. Tell it to act a certain way. Tell chat GPT, act like a senior elite business advisor and walk me through the steps of building a business. Watch what happens. And then go from there. And like, okay, how do I blend this in with family life? How do I continue to make time for my family? Watch what happens. Simple as that. To finish off, that's what this channel is about. Navigating uncertainty, blending creativity, faith, philosophy, Christ, and the importance of the next generation, while Also, adding the occasional dry joke here and there, because, we don't want to get too heavy. And that being said, if that sounds like your thing, this stuff sounds like your thing, stick around. Subscribe, like, leave a comment, or just be a YouTube ninja and just hang out in the shadows. And remember, the only way out of any situation that you are certain in is through. The solution always lies within the problem you're facing. Catch you later.